Howdy guys, kind of how I've been getting the handles done, just kind of getting the back all filed up and everything, and then putting the light in there. This one's basically done for the most part. I need to finish sanding it, and then I'm probably gonna paint it the same color as the truck and that kind of stuff. I also have a white diffuser that I'm gonna put over this slit that has the LED behind it, just to make the light not so aggressive, and then to also hide how uneven this came out. I mean, the ones in the future I'm sure are going to come out better, but the Dremel is not the easiest thing to use with this stuff. It's kind of hard to see, but for the most part it just like melts the plastic, and then you kind of have to scrape it out of the way. It doesn't really like cut into it like you would imagine. In order to get this out of here, I basically just mask the one end of the pin that goes through here so that you could pull it through like this, and then when I put it back through I can just flare the end of it back up. But I was able to kind of pry it out of here the way it sits in here, like off of this metal bar. Oops. Oh, well, that sucked. But at a specific angle, there's a certain angle that I was just able to pull this out, so I didn't have to take this pin out as well. So I drilled a hole there in the side to get the wire through the part that's actually like that it pivots on, and since I dug out the back, I just covered it up with some silicone. And I know it doesn't look like flat or very even or anything, but to be perfectly honest with you, you can't really tell that much, like just by feel. Like when you're grabbing on the handle, it doesn't feel very bad at all. There's a couple spots like right here where I burnt through, like the plastic started to melt and stuff, so I just filled that in with some Bondo. This front slit obviously isn't perfect, and you can do it the other way where you dig out the front end and then just put some covers on if you'd like. It's probably a little bit easier to make this slit look uniform with the thin covers rather than this thick plastic that just kind of likes to melt on you. But I'm going to be using this LED diffusing plastic basically to go over these slits and everything. I did sand these handles down a lot. You can kind of see a little bit of that regular plastic pattern right there and there, but for the most part I did it for the primer and stuff to stick. Got everything taped off and primered. As you can see, we got everything paint mashed and cleared and stuff. I got these strips put in there as well. They're fairly secure as it is. I kind of just mashed these two back pieces together and shoved them in the crack, and that's holding them in fairly well. I'm going to use some ultra clear silicone to put behind there just to seal everything off and hold these on a little bit better. As you can see, I got them all put back together by reinserting those pins correctly. For these handles, I went and got more of this 3-wire, and I'm using these heat shrink connections to basically extend these wires to make it easier for the install. The ground technically can just be grounded to the inside of the door, and for the turn signal, if you have like the mirrors that had the turn signal in it, you can just tap into that wire that goes up into the front door. You don't have to go all the way up to the fuse panel. You're going to end up having to do that for the power wire as well, if you don't have like daytime running light mirrors already that have a power supply right there ready to tap into. Got the old handle taken off. Obviously the door panels all taken off so that I can get this new one put on. But I got the locking mechanism transferred over and everything. I wanted to kind of try to show you while there's some daylight here how I'm gonna route the wire. I plan on going off to the left here, up in between the wires that go into the back of this plug here, so that it kind of holds them over out of the way of the window going up and down, and then they'll come down over and up and out in this direction, where obviously for each door it's gonna ground to the door. Up here in the turn signal area for the mirror is where we're gonna tap in for the turn signal, and then for the actual power source, for the daytime running light itself, we're gonna go through this boot here into the truck, and then it'll bring us kind of down and up through here so that we can tap in to one of the auxiliary power sources there. So up front on the Duramax, the black and gray wire is the positive or the blinker, and the brown and black is the ground, so I just went ahead and grounded it there. For the back door, it'll go through this grommet, come out behind this trim piece, and then travel up and under this to tap into this. So as you can see, it goes down through here. It's hard to see, but it goes up and through this grommet here, right there, and then into the truck through here. And then I'm gonna fish it up and through here in order to tap into the fuse box. This is the back door, so I'm going to ground on this bolt right here, and then I've got two wires going through this boot. I went ahead and pulled off this one portion of the connector so that they can go straight to the cab without being obstructed by these. And then they're going to go behind and under this piece, up, and then tap into these, which are coming from the passenger door. I have the turn signal source and the power source right here, and I'm gonna do the same on that side, except since it's a driver's side, rather than having a wire come out of the door for the turn signal, I'm just gonna tap straight into the turn signal power source on the fuse box there, rather than going back through the boot and in the door again. So this is what they look like on with daytime running lights on. Put this little light in the tailgate handle as well. I did take the diffusers off. I'm gonna put a different LED diffuser, like a white bar, going across the front. I just didn't really like the way that the ones I was working with originally looked, so that's why they're off of there right now. But I'm really happy with how they came out.